What is going on, everybody? It is your boy Nothing But Skills, and today we're talking about global event Onslaught, which is set to kick off on November 19th, 8 a.m. UTC, and it will end 1 week later, November 26th, 8 a.m. UTC. So if you guys are off for Thanksgiving, if you guys are traveling and bring your PlayStation, this is a perfect global event for you guys to grind. Now I'm going to go over how to get each mask, the fastest way to get each mask, everything you want to know about this global event will be in one video for you guys. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the video. So the next thing I want to talk to you guys about is the modifiers. The first modifier is Onslaught. This one's always going to be active. It's going to deal burn, bleed, and gas effects to enemies in addition to your normal damage. Now reload will change the effect. So every time you reload your magazine, it will switch. It will switch from burn to bleed to gas to burn to bleed to gas. Every time you reload, you'll get a new type of damage, which is kind of cool because if you have burn damage, you'll be able to burn the enemies. If you have bleed, you'll make them bleed. If you have the gas, you'll give them that gas effect. The next modifier is Savage Onslaught, and what this modifier does is it has the Onslaught behavior plus enemies are vulnerable to one effect type and resistance to other. When you reload your magazine, if you have that burn, that bleed, that gas, the enemies will be resistance to one of those. So they might be resistance to bleed and gas, but not to burn. So what you need to do is reload your magazine. You might have to reload it like 3 times to get burn again. Use all your bullets, reload again. Agents take increased damage from resistant enemies. So those enemies who are resistant to bleed and gas and you're using bleed and gas, they're going to hit you harder. So what you need to do is reload a couple times, get to burn, and then that way you can drop those NPCs before they put that damage on you. And the final modifier is Brutal Onslaught. It's Savage Onslaught behavior, so it has the Onslaught behavior, it has the Savage Onslaught behavior, plus when 2 or more group members kill vulnerable enemies within 2 seconds, each member can reload to gain a damage bonus for a single clip. That's going to be a really good Onslaught behavior to run when you're running in a group. So probably running Brutal Onslaught is going to be better than running Savage Onslaught alone. And then if you just want to play it safe, you can just run Onslaught and then run through You guys want to know how to get the mask fast and easy. As you guys can see, I have one of the masks on. I have 2 of the 3. I just need to finish the 3rd one, but that's an easy one, and I'll explain to you guys how to get that. So before we break down how to get each mask, I just kind of want to show you each mask real quick. I have 2 of the 3, so let me show you those real quick. We're going to go to my inventory, we're going to go to my appearances, and then I'm going to zoom in for you. So this is going to be the only mask. It's okay looking. I'm not a big fan of it, but it's decent. And then we have the Ember mask, so you can take a look at that one right here. Definitely not one of my favorites, so probably not going to wear either one of these, but I just want to show you what they look like. And the final mask I haven't unlocked. So let's see how we can get the mask. We're going to go into the accommodations. We're going to go down to GE Onslaught. And then you're going to see I have 2 masks unlocked. So the first mask I have unlocked right here is the Oni mask. The second mask is the Ember mask. And then the 3rd mask, which I haven't fully unlocked yet, is the Smiler mask. But let's see how you can unlock each. So for the Oni mask, you need to burn 200 enemies, you need to bleed 200 enemies, and gas 200 enemies during Onslaught event. Now this has to be done on World Tier 5. It can't be done on a lower tier, but you don't have to do this in a playlist. So we'll get into exactly how I get this mask in just a second. The next mask is going to be the Ember mask, and this is kill 5 enemies in a row with the effect they are vulnerable to. To get this one, you do have to pay a playlist, and you do have to be in World Tier 5, but you can do it on hard difficulty above. I recommend doing it on a hard difficulty, and then I'll explain to you in just a second how you can get this one. And then the final mask, we have Never Enough. This is complete all events in the Onslaught playlist. So if you guys don't know, there are 5 missions on the Onslaught playlist. We have Warngate Power Plant, we have Police Academy, which you see I already completed, we have Bravo Emporium, and then we have Russian Consulate, and then we have the Incursion Stolen Signal. Now the Incursion Stolen Signal, that is a DLC incursion. So if you don't have the DLCs, don't worry about it. They're going to give you a check mark as soon as the global event starts. So during the last global event, when this was a global event, they gave everybody a check mark for complete Stolen Signal because they felt that it wasn't fair to make people have to buy a DLC for a mask. I'm going to show you where each mission is for this mask. Since I don't have this one done, this is the final one I need to do. So for the Smiler mask, we're going to go into the map. You need to complete Russian Consulate. You need to complete Police Academy, Warngate, Bravo Emporium, and then the Incursion Stolen Signal. You can do this on challenging. You don't have to do it on heroic. And then all the other missions, you should be able to do them on hard. Like Bravo Emporium, you can do it on hard. Police Academy, you can do it on hard.
I'm not recognizing.
Warren Gate Power Plant, you can do it on hard, and then Russian Consulate, you can do it on hard. Those are really simple for you guys to complete. So what we're going to do right now, we're going to talk about how you can unlock Ember Mask. This is kill 5 enemies in a row with the effect they are vulnerable to. So what I want you guys to notice is I have a shield build on, and on the left hand corner of how many bullets I have, it has a flame. So that means that I'm going to be hitting the NPCs with flame bullets. Now if I hit the reload button, you're going to see it changes to bleed. So that's a bleed symbol right there. And then if I hit reload again, you're gonna see I have the gas symbol. So what you need to do is when you're doing this mask is when the symbol pops above their head that they're vulnerable to, that's the one you need to switch to. So maybe you shoot one bullet, you hit reload, or you just reload till you get it, and then you finish them off, you reload, and you keep doing it. I'm going to show you a clip of me and how I just completed it. So if you pay attention to this clip, one thing you're going to notice is I switch to the damage that I need to switch to, and then I find the NPC which has the symbol above his head. If you look at this NPC right here, he has a damage symbol that I need to find, so I match that up with the damage on my weapon, and then I melt him. And then what I do is I look for the next NPC who has the same damage. So what you want to do is, if you can find 2 gas, knock out those 2 gas, or if you have to reload, switch to the other guy that you need to. And remember, one key tip, you can always just reload if you want to get back to that burn, if you want to get back to that bleed, or get back to that gas. It's probably one of the easier masks to get. Besides completing the playlist, you should be able to knock out all these masks in about an hour, except for the incursion. You need to be able to complete that one. That's going to take you a little bit longer, but you should be able to get both masks and then work on the final mask, which is complete the playlist. And now what we're going to do is we're going to get into the final mask. So we're going to go back to our accommodations. We're going to go back to GE Onslaught, and then we're going to look at the Oni mask, which is full house, burn 200 enemies, bleed 200 enemies, and gas 200 enemies. And the only condition is do this on World Tier 5. So what I recommend you guys doing is first completing the playlist if you really want to get the mask fast. But if you're impatient and you just want to knock out the mask first and worry about the playlist later, well, you can go to my favorite mission to knock out most of these masks when you have to get a lot of kills, and that's Clear Sky. And all you have to do is put Clear Sky on, leave it on World Tier 5, put on Challenging, and then run forward. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you what I did. Pretty much my game plan was I had my shield out and I can just keep mowing down the enemies. I didn't even worry about reloading. All I did is I tried to put out as much damage as possible to an NPC if I could kill him. As soon as I killed him, I started shooting another NPC. Then I would reload, shoot him. And one thing that I'm going to tell you guys, don't worry if you're doing burn damage, bleed damage, or gas damage. You're going to get this. So all I would focus on is just killing as many NPCs as possible, and before you know it, you get it. Now once you get closer to the end, that's the only time you should worry about how many more kills you need. Remember, it's 200 in burn, 200 in bleed, and 200 in gas. This is probably the easiest place to do it. Just set up shop, you can get in the corner, the NPCs will keep coming to you. As long as you don't plant the bomb, the NPCs will keep spawning in and just keep coming towards you, and you can just keep knocking this out. I feel like the best build to finish all these masks is running my D3 build. If you haven't watched my D3 build, I'm going to put a link to it down below in the description box. It's probably one of my favorite PvE builds to run now. I've been running it a lot. I've even ran it in the PvP a little bit because it's one of those builds that's pretty fun to do. And then especially if you run against those shotgun strikers and you have a team, you can help out your team by taking the damage, giving them the health boost, and hopefully they can put out the damage. And now for the gear sets. So that's going to be the big question. What gear sets do you get during this global event? There are 4 different gear sets you can get during this global event. The first one is going to be Firecrest. Probably one of my favorite PvE builds to run. I actually have a video of this. I'm going to put a screenshot of that build video so that way you guys can look, and there'll also be a link above so you can see what the Firecrest does and how it works. One of my favorite. The second one is Lone Star, another great PvE build. I wouldn't use it in PvP. Some people like using it in the PvP. I feel like you need a dedicated healer to take a full advantage of this build, but for PvE, Lone Star works great. I made a build video a long time ago. I might actually get a couple pieces and revamp it. Lone Star is the next one. The third one is Predator's Mark. probably a lot of people's favorite to hate, favorite to love. It's one of the most controversial gear sets in the game right now. But Predator's Mark is out there, so if you guys don't have that gear set and you're looking for some more pieces, I'm personally going to get some better gloves so I can run it with my Urban MDR. But I do have a Predator Mark build video if you guys want to take a look at that. The link will be above, and here's a screenshot of that build video so that way you know which one to look for. And the final is the healer build Reclaimer. Now, I've never made a build video on this one, and I probably still won't. I'm just not a healer, and I've never been a healer in any game I've ever played. But for all you healers out there, we need you guys, and if you guys want to pick up this build, it's a great build to run if you want to run a healer, especially in PvE. Now in PvP, you might want to run a hybrid healer, something like a final measure with high electronics. That way you still catch grenades, you get that bonus buff, and then you can still drop those big heals. So those are the 4 gear sets. We have Firecrest, Lone Star, Predator's Mark, and Reclaimer. Now what we're going to do is we're going to get into the playlist, and those will probably be the best ones to do to get the most amount of credits. So for the playlist, we have 4 missions you can do and 1 incursion. The first one we're going to talk about is the incursion, Stolen Signal. This is probably one of the harder missions for you guys to actually do. It takes a long time, so grinding this over and over during this global event probably won't be something you want to do. Now if you want to complete the playlist, well, you can do this Stolen Signal. Make sure you have a 4-man team, and with all the gear sets being out for a while, it shouldn't be too hard. Just remember, you need some time because it's going to take you a little bit of time to complete this mission. The first mission you can do is going to be Broadway Emporium. And the thing about this, you can only do it on normal or hard, so you're probably not going to want to farm this. So Broadway Emporium will probably be something that you're going to do just to farm the mask or just complete the playlist. Just like Broadway Emporium, we have Police Academy. You can only do this on normal or hard. The same thing, guys. Something you'll probably do just to complete the playlist, but not something you're going to want to do to farm. The next mission is something you could farm, but it takes a little bit, so I wouldn't recommend farming this one. It's Russian Consulate. You can do it on challenging, so you'll get some decent GE credits, but I still wouldn't farm this one. I'll probably do it once or twice if you're just bored of farming other missions. There's still some better missions you can farm besides farming Russian Consulate, but this is part of the playlist. And the final mission part of the playlist, which I know a lot of guys do farm, is Warren Gate Power Plant. They do it on Legendary. Fully run through this mission in about 20 minutes, and they were all running Tactician. So this mission can be farmed. You just need a really good team and put it on Legendary, and you'll get a lot of GE credits. Now, if you want something a little bit more simple and don't have to worry about finding a good team or having specific builds, then you guys know what mission you guys need to do. Lexington Event Center. A lot of you guys like this one. You can do this on challenging, so you'll get some decent GE credits. Even though it's not part of the playlist, you still get GE credits. You can also do another fan favorite, which is going to be Hudson Refugee Camp. You can do this also on challenging. There's 3 bosses at the end. So either doing Hudson Refugee Camp or doing Lexington are going to be the best bet for a lot of you guys who don't have someone to play with and don't have a group to play with to run through missions. Now, if you do have a good 4-man group, I still love Clear Sky. You can run this with any build you want to run and pretty much run through this. And I imagine with this global event modifier, you're probably going to be able to clear Sky really fast. So this is probably going to be my go-to. You can do this on heroic, have a 4-man team, and just run through it. Remember, you can do the open world bosses. Each boss does drop GE credits, so that's another way for you guys to farm. Another way I like farming, if you guys haven't watched any of my other videos, is I always do the weekly HVTs. If you do it right at the beginning of the week, you can actually knock it out twice. So you should be able to do it on Monday and then also do it on Friday. So that's what I would do. If you can knock this out first thing when the global event starts Monday, you can knock it out, and these will give you 750 GE credits all the way down to 550 GE credits. So when you add that up plus the GE credits you get for killing each boss, do the weekly HVTs if you have target intel, or find a friend and maybe he can buy some, you can buy some, so you don't have to spend all your target intel. I wouldn't recommend doing the daily HVTs. The target intel is too much for the amount of GE credits you get. And the final thing you guys want to know is back here, once the global event goes live, everything you want to know will happen back here. The modifiers will be right there where it says global event. Back here, the global event vendors, where you're going to be able to buy those caches. So if you're missing some Predator's Mark, Firecrest, Lone Star, Reclaimer, you're going to be able to buy those caches here for 3,000 GE credits. And then of course you can still buy the Superior caches. Now this should say Superior Season 6 cache once the next global event kicks off. The global event activities is going to show what tier level you finished in. If we look at the previous tier level, I finished in tier 3 in the last tier level, and that was around 11,000 GE credits. So it seems to be if you're around 10,800, 11,000, you're going to get into tier 3. Now, if you're anything under that, you'll probably end up in tier 2 and then of course tier 1. And that pretty much wraps up everything, guys. I just want to say thank you guys again for watching this video. If you guys still have any questions on Global Event Onslaught, let me know in the comment section. If you're new to my channel, smash that subscribe button. And as always, thank you guys again for all the support. If you don't see me in Last Stand, if you don't see me in Skirmish, if you don't see me in the Dark Zone, it's only a matter of time. Nothing but skills out.